Awesome. Well, thanks all for joining another CLab Pulse here. We missed last month, so we've been MIA here for a little while. So good to see a bunch of familiar faces. This is, as you can probably already tell, our monthly chance to just connect and align, and it's very much meant to be informal and community driven. So I don't know how many sort of formal Zoom calls you're on day to day, but know that this is not meant to be one of those. You're welcome to jump in, interrupt, make this a family affair, and that's certainly part of the goal with CLab. Obviously, is to also just create a unified ecosystem and community. Let's do. I know there's at least 3 or 4 folks new, so I'm open to just leave a little time at the top here to do some high-level intros for anyone that would like to pop in and do a quick intro and say hi. Maybe just name and where you're from and what sort of work you're up to.
Sure, this is Amy Cardell. I'll pop in and say hi. I can't be on video really for the call. Hi.
No worries.
Good. So my name is Amy Cardell. I'm with CompTIA, the Computer Trade Industry Association. Come from industry myself. And of course, our certification holders are global and part of the training ecosystem. And my role as VP of Strategic Relationships is really to understand what you guys are doing. And it looks like Colorado's got together. So I'm here to get the pulse. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, we've had some great discussions and excited to see where we can go and how to integrate a lot of the great work you're up to, and CompTIA being a sort of industry leader. We've got a lot of momentum around some cybersecurity work. So yeah, glad to have you. Anyone else, feel free. Cecil, Dan, Hunter, I know you've sort of been in and out of some of these, but anybody feel free if you'd like to do a quick intro.
Yeah, I'll just do a quick intro. This is Steve Gantz, and I actually kind of lurking from Olympia, Washington, and kind of just want to figure out what you guys are doing in Colorado there. So I've been on a couple before. I haven't really participated because I'm not sure exactly what role we might have, but we are doing a lot of badge work and trying to be more innovative, and we kind of look to Colorado to help us out with that. So.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, and certainly welcome anyone from around the country. As much as we'll focus in a bit on Colorado, happy to sort of share. Hey, Mike, good to see you.
Hey,
sorry,
yeah,
your video popped up, so I had to say.
Oh yeah, I haven't been able to drop in for a while. Just had a bunch of stuff pulling me away, but yeah. I'm with the University of Denver. Fun thing we're doing right now, we're pulling together 2 cybersecurity webinars for cybersecurity awareness month. So we're doing that.
Awesome. Anyone else want to jump in and do a quick intro, and then we'll get moving. We got plenty to cover.
Yeah, Taylor, just real quick, Hunter here. So just to introduce, I'm Hunter Albright. I head up the University of Colorado's Blockchain Alliance and sort of teach in the business and the engineering school there. And good to be back on.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Hunter, and Dan. Good timing if you want to say hi too, since Hunter and Dan and I have certainly crossed paths often.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Dan Shields, and I'm come more from the distributed web tech side, and evangelism and events, at least before COVID times, was a big thing. But education around this is what I'm really interested in. So it just turns out CLab is this happy marriage of a lot of this stuff. So yeah, excited to be here.
Cool, thanks, Dan. Good to see you. Last call, anyone else that wants to jump in and do a quick intro?
Sure, this is Phil Long from the T3 Network. Nice to see everybody there, and Taylor, a parent of a DU grad as well, and been assisting around the country with learning and employment record pilots.
Thanks, Phil.
Hey gang, it's Russell Castanera from OIT. Just hopping in to see what I can. I got to hop off pretty quick too, but I thought I'd try to be a part as much as I can because I'm normally so ratcheted down with stuff. Good to see you guys.
Thanks, Russell. Yeah, I might make a little, if you've got 5 minutes here at the top, we can shuffle a little and let you do a little update. If it makes sense, if you got to hop off, happy to shuffle a little bit.
Oh, sure. So thanks. That's great.
Go for it. Take
I love,
over.
I love coming late, leaving early, and being given the keys to the kingdom. That's like, I feel like the president. But we're making really great progress with some blockchain stuff. We, we were involved with ETH Denver, with OIT, and then Department of Revenue jumped in with the Game Jam, sort of leveraging what we had started and taking it to kind of the next level. Right now, we're working on doing the same thing next year, but kind of order of magnitude down to make it 10 times as big as Game Jam was, coming up with lots of different use cases, not just blockchain, but including lots of blockchain use cases out there. And our digital ID, which is My Colorado, we have we have a real pilot going on right now with the State Patrol. So you can actually use your digital ID if you get pulled over. And we're also piloting with a couple of healthcare organizations this month. So really great progress there. Hopefully we'll have a real-time KYC solution that the public can use very soon. And looking for partners as well to start doing pilots come October and November. So anybody who's interested in that kind of stuff, it would be great to work with you.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like you're encouraging me to go and get pulled over because I just want to be able to see what the reaction is to using the ID.
It's not in broad. They're piloting. So they have 55 officers doing the next pilot in Castle Rock and Craig. So I don't think any of us are Castle Rock, maybe, but Craig, it's a long way away. I said, the odds of people in Craig having a My Colorado ID, I don't know how high those are. I actually could find out, I guess. But yeah, that's we'll see how it works.
Cool. Thanks.
But it's actually, we've been working with them to try and speed up how fast the interaction is, how fast they can get off the side of the road. We started off, it was about 20% slower, and after 3 iterative rounds of testing and stuff, we've got it down to about 60% as much time. So that's the big thing for them and the big pain point for them. So that's really exciting.
Cool. Yeah. If and when you got to hop, feel free, but thanks for jumping in. And yeah, I mean, OIT and Russell in particular have been obviously big supporters in helping keep this sort of momentum with CLab moving too, as we look at educational integrations and ways of utilizing a lot of that work to support some of the pilots that are surfacing out of this group. So yeah, thanks for just being in support as you have been for the last couple of years. It's been awesome. Cool. We'll go back around and jump back on track. Wanted to just give some high level updates and then more or less open the floor for others on the call that have other updates they'd like to share. And then we'll talk a bit about this ACE blockchain challenge. We've got a number of folks on the call that have some context and have been involved in that for a while. So have an exciting update on an application we're putting through there. And then gonna let Spencer run through a number of updates from CDHE. And then lastly, we'll have to move quick, but we've got a new community hub that we are sort of soft launching to this small group. And we'll do a quick walkthrough and let you take a look at what that's about. And Duncan will do that at the end here. So got a lot to cover. The high level on where CLab sort of is and where we're headed, as folks know, I'm still getting Russell pinned on the video here. I'm going to try to see if I can't. It's weird. You're just going to be the face of this thing, at least on my end. So yeah, the CLab obviously as a community and as a network, our goal is to build a decentralized but unified community across Colorado to accelerate education and employment infrastructure. And that's happening obviously in a number of different ways. A number of folks on this call are a part of that work. but this community basically represents a means of pulling a lot of the work together and having a sort of unified thread that can kind of filter through all of the work going on. So certainly, open, and these monthly calls are a good way to just keep your finger on the pulse of how things are evolving. So that's high level, and thanks, Colin. Yeah, there's actually a new website. We've kind of made some other changes, but there's a new website there for CLab that offers other resources and some other documentation on kind of where we've been and how it's evolving. Won't go too far into that, but have some exciting pilots that we want to chat about, and some exciting opportunities coming up. So we'll get into that in a bit. Wanted to give Colin and maybe a quick high-level intro. Colin, Spencer, Duncan, I don't know if we want to do that, or we can just kind of do it as we go, I guess. But just since I know there's a few new faces on this, we can do quick intros as we go. But Colin, I wanted to give you a quick couple minutes to chat about the Ieee work and some of the support you've been offering there.
Sure. Great to see some familiar faces. And for those of you I haven't met, I'm Colin Reynolds. I am a K-12 educator who has been really focusing on innovative education models and tools that support sort of the progressive approach to learner records and pedagogy and everything happening inside the schools. So I joined Learning Economy, I think about 6 months ago now, officially, and have been supporting a lot of the different CLab pilot projects, and most recently have taken on the role as the secretary of the IEEE Integrated Learner Records Working Group. And so the update, we have a meeting once a month. The kickoff was in July, and basically we are working with people all over the globe who are doing some of these standard-based and integrated learner records work, and trying to create a sort of a universal or base document for implementation and what that looks like, just creating some standards. So in the last meeting, just kind of a nutshell, I think many of you are connected in one way or another with a lot of the people that are doing this kind of work in different parts of the United States and different parts of the world. Really what this group is trying to do is to come to some agreements on what those expectations are. So Kim Duffy Hamilton was at the last meeting, talked high level about some of the work she's doing with the W3C and the Universal Wallet. We had Joshua Gay, who is the open source community manager for the IEEE, talk about some of the expectations and just the standards practice and what this work will look like when we finish. And this is an ongoing working group that is open to all who are interested. I can share the link here in a moment to get you signed up on the listserv. Feel free to jump in on the next meeting, but we have started kind of some of the work of the Ed 3.0 research network and moving that into a more international lens and having everybody work through that document to help create and input what they're doing and what they're seeing. So if you have any more questions specifically about it, you can reach out to me, but I'll throw a link in there to sign up for the listserv so you can get more information. And if you're interested, join us for the next meeting.
Cool. Thanks, Colin. And whether it's that work or some of the work through W3C, standards are some of these things that some really love to get deeply tied into. And for some, it just feels like it's watching paint dry. So no worries if that doesn't appeal. But I think the exciting thing and the alignment back to what's possible in Colorado is we're just seeing a lot of momentum around, global based standards and evolution in some of these sort of deep underlying, hopefully very stable and sustainable standards and recommended practices that can offer guideposts for anyone doing some of this sort of future of education or employment work. I think it's important that these open standards are evolving and finding some moments of maturity. So it's not just crazy folks like us spouting how the change is coming, that there's actually big standards bodies that are behind it as well. Cool. So I'm going to actually throw another, just because I know we have enough to get to it. I want to make sure we covered all. I'm going to leave sort of just the open floor and community updates to the end, and roll through some CLab updates real quick, and then turn over and offer Spencer some time to chat about a lot going on at CDHE. So we've got this American Council on Education Blockchain Innovation Challenge proposal that we're really excited about. We've been, Spencer and Michael Vance and others, as well as some of us at Learning Economy, have been sort of jamming on what makes sense and what we can potentially propose for Colorado. And some of my Colorado work and Russell's contributions have helped shape some of this, and a number of others. So I'll just leave that teaser. I'll let Spencer talk a little more about what the plan is, but no, for those that are curious or want to get involved, we are planning to submit a proposal that we hope is also just sort of a seed towards a sort of longer term framework that we can start to align around. So be in touch, and we can share a link to that challenge if others are interested. We've got, again, I'm glad Amy joined and others. We've got this sort of secondary lens. I know there's a lot of work in the state right now around just cybersecurity and being able to offer more students the opportunities we know to exist in the state. Colorado is sort of at the bottom of the table when it comes to jobs available and us being able to provide the talent to those jobs. And so we've been meeting with the group off and on here for a while, just trying to create alignment and understand all the various projects and work going on around credentialing, around pathways, the work going on at My Colorado Journey, the state data trust work. There's a lot of angles to this and a lot of momentum. So know that there are opportunities if you have interest or connections specific within the domain of cybersecurity. Definitely be in touch, and we'll kind of help you get plugged in wherever it might make sense. One sort of more tangible project that's come out of that is this CCAP work, which is looking at specifically apprenticeships down at UCCS. And our goal and hope is to provide a student-owned digital wallet that accompanies that apprenticeship work, and have sort of more or less the go ahead to pursue this and try to offer, you know, some demonstrable case studies to say, you know, this is why this is valuable for students to own and control their records and their sort of demonstration of learning, and how it hopefully led to opportunities in cybersecurity. So it's a small, well-scoped pilot, and we're kind of building alignment towards the end of the year, and then hopefully we'll deploy a digital wallet and potentially even a My Colorado ID anchored. We'll see on the identity side, but if the timing works out, we'll also look at a pilot that anchors to the existing My Colorado work when it comes to identity. So excited about the potential there. Really think it'll be, you know, we've got the right pieces to potentially do some pretty amazing things that really haven't been done anywhere else in the country. And then the last piece I'll say, and before I turn it over to Spencer, is we've also been working towards just providing more high-level education around what we're up to, what this lab represents in this sort of sea of evolving collabs, and above all of that, this notion and meme of the Internet of Education. And so we have a website up now at internetofeducation.org that helps provide some high-level framing, and you're welcome to take a peek or share that. There's also some core principles that we would love to build some conversation around, and basically, you know, pull in as much thought leadership as possible to help us frame this in an effective manner, and hopefully work towards some actual governance. What does it look like for us to shape an actual governing body that can sort of sit aside this notion of a global single internet of education. This is really at the core of a lot of what we're up to at Learning Economy. So just know that that's there as sort of an educational resource, and please plug in. And in fact, the platform there's an app there as well, and what Duncan will show later, it's part of the same technology being used. So you'll get a kind of sneak preview of that. So that's it from high level on CLab. Obviously, just reach out, if and when there's any alignment with any of that, and we'll make sure you get plugged into the right spot. I think that's good. Spencer, it's all yours here for the next 15 or 20 or whatever you'd like to take.
Sweet, thanks. I don't think I'll take the entire 15 minutes, but just a few things to mention, and I'll try to throw some links into the chat for folks to follow along. For those of you I don't know, my name's Spencer. I work at the Colorado Department of Higher Education. Thanks for a couple minutes to share what's going on. A lot of the updates that I'm going to share are more specific to Colorado, but definitely inviting a larger discussion around particularly the Blockchain Innovation Challenge through ACE and some of the other stuff as well. Russell, would love to learn more about the DNR credentialing that you all are doing. We have a cohort of academic advisors that we're aiming to train and credential in some manner, and so maybe that's something we can riff on here in a little bit. First and foremost, happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Hopefully you all are finding places to celebrate. I know a lot of our campuses are celebrating in some form or fashion, so please do that. And enjoy the next month of festivities and recognition. Next, kind of on our agenda is what's on the agenda for a lot of colleges and universities at this time is addressing the reemergence of COVID cases, especially at residential campuses throughout the state and throughout the country. And I've got this really interesting tracker from the New York Times that I was going to share with you all in case you're interested, but that's something that's ongoing and really driving a lot more of these conversations around innovations for higher ed to make things more accessible in the wake of the pandemic. So interesting stuff going on with regard to policy, with regard to practice, and making things more accessible for students. One thing I wanted to mention is, with regard to the conversation about documenting skills for learners or workers and, validating those. We do have some legislation in the state of Colorado that's really exciting, that's going to open the door for more of these conversations. It's House Bill 1002, which is college credit for work experience. I'll drop that into the chat as well. Essentially, this bill is asking the department to kind of do some research around this particular topic, and then work with the institutions to implement some policies and some parameters around this particular topic. But it's very relevant to this conversation because we're talking about that documenting of what folks might call non-traditional skills in the state of Colorado, and seeing it in policy is really exciting for us. Because it gives us a little bit more leverage to kind of enter into these conversations around utilization of tech or development, further enhancement of these particular pathways to keep integrating workforce into higher ed better than we have in the past. So I wanted to mention that, and I dropped that into the chat as well. One shameless self-promotion, we do have another round of grant funding going on at the department, actually several rounds. One grant that I wanted to mention that is launching probably later this month is the Open Educational Resources Grant. So I'll go ahead and drop the link to that in the chat. Nearly $1 million available for institutions of higher education who are proposing projects with regard to open education in Colorado and OER, freely available textbooks and other course materials. So again, another opportunity for leveraging technology and education that we're really excited about. We've seen some great projects over the last 2 years, and this is our third and final year of funding for that particular project. So looking to finish with a bang. And then another pot of money that I wanted to mention is the Colorado Rise Education Fund, which is a little bit more money than the $1 million I mentioned for open education, $32 million. And RISE stands for Responsive Innovation and Student Equity Fund. It's out of the governor's office. And we'll go ahead and, thank you, Taylor. I already dropped that one in there as well. Take a look at that. The eligible applicants for this particular grant are obviously schools of all kinds and other public entities such as federally recognized tribes, early childhood councils, and other kind of statewide consortia. And then organizations that are eligible to partner include nonprofits. And so that's why I want to mention to this group, there could be some great opportunities for innovative practice or partnerships if you've been batting ideas around with folks in Colorado. And again, it's all levels of education. I know they're really looking to prioritize school districts and those, let me see here, I think I got a list actually before I just start freestyling that. Priority is given to rural communities, of course, which would be fantastic to see more projects emerging. Colin, I know you mentioned Trinidad earlier in this conversation, so maybe worth a conversation with them if they haven't already. A lot of colleges I know have already kind of put their proposals together and are just ready to submit them, because this has been a long time coming as part of the CARES Act money. The other priorities are multi-school or multi-organizational proposals. So kind of that model of collective impact. And then addressing significant academic gaps between students on income-based or various diverse race and ethnic groups and English language learners or disability status. So those are kind of the priorities. They're listed on the website as well. I forget the close date of that. Let's see here, mid-October, I believe. And then the last one I want to mention, and I'll wrap it up here, Taylor, but the AceNet Blockchain Innovation Challenge, which we're really excited about preparing a proposal for Colorado. And really the thing that I wanted to mention to this group is the proposal asks for an ecosystem first approach to this particular challenge, to be awarded this pot of money to do some exploration and to also put forth some meaningful pilot work and implementation at various levels. So I think that bodes well for our proposal, because we have a lot of this ecosystem developing, or we can kind of continue to connect the dots with My Colorado or other things happening at the Department of Higher Ed or with the Colorado Workforce Development Council. So would love to get, folks kind of integrated into that project if they're interested. So please reach out if you are. And I think that's it for now.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Spencer. Always, I know there's plenty more probably. I always appreciate getting the high level because you can prioritize well about what's kind of top of mind. Yeah, maybe the last thing on the Blockchain Innovation Challenge, we're looking to more or less model out a framework that is open and inviting for a number of other projects to sort of plug into. So it's not a sort of single siloed project. We're really trying to think about what does a state framework look like that more or less unifies with distributed tech, the existing work with data trusts and the existing work with My Colorado and the digital ID and existing work around pathways and digital credentialing. And so know that, no matter sort of where you fall in your potential work in Colorado, that our hope is to sort of start to plant a seed of a single sort of unifying framework that makes it more approachable, and pilots then can sort of plug in and be more sustainable based on that framework. So we're still working out some of the actual framing around that, but just know that it's I think good maturity in the thinking, and we're excited about this, what this application will ultimately do, hopefully to kind of keep building that momentum. So I think let's do, Duncan, let's go ahead and jump over and do the walkthrough. I want to make sure folks get a quick peek at that, and then we'll finish up with just sort of an open floor for others. I know there's a lot here. I'd love to give Carrie a little time to maybe chat about the ACE challenge a little bit. Phil obviously has some understanding and exposure as well. So yeah, let's maybe do 10-minute on the Community Hub, and then we'll open it up.
Yeah, great. No, it sounds good. And I don't think I'll take the whole 10 minutes, but we'll see. Great. All right, sharing my screen here. Does that work? Is that, let me zoom in a bit.
Maybe a quick intro too, since I know some folks probably don't know you.
Oh yeah, Duncan Cox here. I've been with Learning Economy for a bit. I do a lot of the content curation and the kind of community hub development. I've had a hand in a lot of the T3 work, and I do a lot of the support, and some of you have likely received emails from me on behalf of CLab and CLab Pulse. So, but yeah, thanks for joining us. Yeah, so right here we've got our CLab Community Hub, and this is a single hub under the greater Internet of Education community. We think of CLab as, you know, a node in the Internet of Education, and so this CLab Hub is really the first of these communities connected to the greater Internet of Education. So I'm really excited to be able to kind of show this off and you know, give everyone a sneak peek at what we've been doing. So yeah, what we have here is a this is our homepage for the community. And what we really want to do is streamline this and make this as easy to access as possible. So we've got right here, this is our, you know, kind of announcement / front page spot. You know, this will change as new updates or initiatives or whatever become introduced or as new developments arise. But for now, we've got this, you know, what are you reading or watching space where I can, you know, enter in articles or videos or whatever I've been reading and watching. We've got our contribute and get help card right here, where you can kind of access all the different spots in the hub, which I will hop into a minute. But yeah, we've got some content here, including this great LER record video from the T3 hub. And yeah, let me dive in a little bit more. So this is our kind of overview of CLab, where you can get a kind of better idea of, you know, where CLab came from and what CLab's goals are in some different projects that are aligned with CLab. Right here, we go over to our news and updates section. This has, again, kind of a broad overview CLab timeline. Anything that's been happening or the most recent things will be listed here. We've got our docs and resources, and these are, you know, kind of the driving documents of the CLab. So we've got, you know, our kickoff summary fact sheet and action guide downloadable and viewable right here. And then any future documentation will be shared here as well. Of course, we've got our monthly pulse. So this is maybe a place that you can link off to people if you want to share about what's happening with the CLab Pulse, or, you know, the latest info on the Pulse, or you know, view some of the recordings. We have those all up on YouTube, and so this one will also be up on YouTube if you have any questions about the hub itself. A spot for members to introduce yourselves. So we've already had some people hop in, and I got some folks from the T3 hub as well, copied over some of their intros. But yeah, this is where we kind of hope you'll hop in and introduce yourself and kind of tell about your organization, your goals, and what you're doing. We've got our pilots directory. See, Taylor's put in this CO3 pilot here. But if you have a pilot that's relevant to CLab work, you can register here. So let me kind of show you how that would work. You could share details about your pilot. You could say, you know, piloting X here, and let me give this a title, X pilot. And you'll share it, and then we'll see this here, and we can, once we kind of fine tune the details with you and work through you on about like exactly what from your pilot, what information you have will be relevant to put on the hub, we can move this over into the pilot directory. So we hope that this kind of becomes an emergent, community curated and kind of crowdsourced resource hub for people in CLab. Again, we've got this community content spot where you can share articles and videos and whatever else might be relevant for various other stakeholders in CLab. And then we've got our CLab marketplace section where folks can go and, for example, if you have a potential technology solution, if you're a vendor, have a technology solution, or if you're an institution and you have needs of a technology solution, or, you know, any sort of kind of resource wants, needs, and then offerings that you have, you can share here. So please feel free to hop in and say, you know, I need someone or an organization that can help me, you know, engineer some blockchain solution, or I have a blockchain solution and I'm looking for a place to pilot it. This is the spot that you'll go to. And we'll have this pop up and notify you as these resources are shared, so that, you know, as anyone in the hub hops in and accesses the hub, they know that the marketplace has been updated. And so you can kind of keep a pulse on what the members of the community need. And last, we've got our pilot use cases selection. This is largely empty, but what we have here is a spot where you can propose new pilots and new ideas for pilots and kind of collaborate with each other on these pilots. And as you can see, we've got upvotes and downvotes here. So, you know, as new pilots and new ideas get shared, please upvote, downvote, etc. And leave comments as well on the different proposals, because we want to make sure that everyone can have, you know, get good feedback on their ideas, and that we can collaboratively create, you know, new things in the future for CLab. So that's kind of a high-level overview. I know that was a little quick, but I wanted to leave a little time for questions and concerns. And before we hop into that, we'll be sending out a follow-up email for instructions on signing up to the CLab community. You can access it from an app, so we'll be sharing the Internet of Education app, where we'll give you a sign-up link and code where you can log in and create a profile for this hub. But you can also access it from the desktop like I am right now. So there's a couple options for you there. But yeah, we're really excited to have folks hop in and hope this is a useful tool. So, anyone have any questions? Taylor, did I miss anything?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, certainly if anyone has thoughts or ideas, or the one thing I might add, this has been technology that's been evolving for a long time. And I don't know if anyone has seen The Social Dilemma, but I think this is interesting timing to think about what sort of technology we ultimately want to shape our professional lives around. And at the core of this hub, as well as other uses of this technology, really is trying to put people and privacy first. And, you know, there's certainly no intention of mining data and selling off any data for advertising. I'll kind of leave things there. I know that gets political, but just know that at the core of this is rethinking, you know, how technology can ultimately serve us. And so we don't have a team of 100,000 engineers dialing this in to a T, which is, I think, both. I mean, it'll feel different, but I think in a lot of ways, hopefully, it's also refreshing, just given some of the challenges that come with big tech and some of the existing sort of social platforms we're used to using. So we have our own thoughts on why this sort of approach really is changing the paradigm, but I still tweet, so it also feels a little hypocritical. But yeah, just wanted to layer that on, and go see The Social Dilemma if you haven't. It's a pretty good doc. It's out on Netflix. Thoughts or questions for Duncan? Yeah, feel free.
Great. Yeah, if there's no questions, I'll stop sharing. But yeah, feel free. I'm gonna send out a follow-up email, or maybe I'll have Taylor. I don't know. We'll send up a follow-up email to all of you, and I'll provide my email and contact so you can ask me any questions you have once you hop in. But yeah,
I think we could probably, since this is a small enough group, I'd say we can probably share the invite link here for folks that really do have time and want to dive in.
Yeah,
we'll follow up and make sure everyone sees the details on it.
Cool. I'll grab that and send it right now.
Cool. So we kind of reversed the order, but want to leave the last 15 to 20 just for open conversation and other updates. I see a few folks dropped and a few more came on. So would love to tee up either Cecil or Carrie. Any thoughts on the ACE challenge? Or Carrie's doing some amazing PhD research right now around self-sovereign identity. And we've got Michael. I see Michael Vante joined as well. So anyone who has thoughts or updates, feel free. We'll take the rest of the time to just jam as a group here.
Hey there, this is Carrie. Sorry I didn't get to introductions before, but my name is Carrie Lemoy, and I've been in this education credential space for a long time, primarily with open badges, and I did the research and wrote the report for the Blockchain Innovation Challenge. And I wanted to let you know that they're having a webinar tomorrow on FERPA, which is always an interesting topic and always has lots of questions that almost always end with "it depends." But if you're interested, you can go to, if I can find the URL here. You have to sign up through ACE's platform. It's engageacenet.edu. And then once you sign up through there, you can have access to that webinar. And there were 2 previous webinars where folks were discussing the challenge. I'm trying to figure out how to get, how you can find those on the network, because I wasn't around for those. But yeah, I just want to let you know these webinars are great. So next Thursday, we're having one on the interoperable standards, which is a white paper that we just released when the challenge was announced, which is one of also the primary things we're looking for. Just like a hint there, right? They really want to see that people are using interoperable standards. So that will be next week at the same time. And I believe, wait, let me give you a time here. I don't have it. I'm so sorry. But if you register at engage.acenet.edu and look for the Blockchain Innovation Challenge, it'll probably be on the right side of your screen. You can sign up for it. I think that's all I have, though. Taylor, do you have anything else like you'd like me to inform folks about?
I mean, I think the report is the big, it's, I think, one of the best resources at the intersection of education and blockchain and technology right now that's available. So I'd say that's the, in fact, here, I think this is the right direct.
We're hosting it on IPFS now. We moved it over to there.
I just grabbed it from the webpage and now I'm seeing IPFS in the URL. I was like, hold on, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I convinced us that we should be eating our own dog food. So
I
it's
love
on IPFS now.
I love it. I love it. Cool. So yeah, just that'd be my recommendation. Her at sort of the lead, and then obviously other folks contributed, but that report's really excellent.
Yeah, actually, Phil Long, who's on here, was one of our editors. So thank you, Phil, for helping out with that. If you have any other questions about the challenge, I'm going to put my email address in here, and you can reach out to me and ask questions, and I'm happy to get you to the right person. So it's carrie@openworksgroupgrp.com. I put there in the chat for you, okay?
Cool. Thanks, Carrie.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Anyone else? And Michael, I know you joined late, but you've had a fun ride the last few days and have been working on 1,000 things. If you have any thoughts or updates, feel free.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great to see everyone. Sorry that I was a little bit late. I've been running around like a crazy person this morning. So lots of great things going on our end. I presented with some of our colleagues at Bright Hive at the Good Tech Fest yesterday. They've been involved in a lot of that work, and being able to highlight all of those good stories, especially that we're doing here in Colorado. So excited about all of that. I'm totally stealing this, but one thing that Nat Stevens at Bright Hive had said is data sharing and data governance is a lot like improv. And, you know, we're all in this together, kind of on the stage together, figuring these things out. And the first rule of improv is yes and. And so we try to kind of bounce things off of each other, make sure that we're moving in that direction, and we do it in a responsible way. You know, it's not, yes, you can have all of my data and use it for any purpose. There are rules and flows to all of that. But being able to be part of that group and this group, I highlighted this group as part of those discussions, just being able to show the great energy that we have here in Colorado and being able to have these conversations and kind of chart a path forward. So very excited about all of that. I know we continue a lot of conversations on the ACE grant front, kind of talking with a lot of you all, some of our colleagues at OIT, figuring out what that might look like from the Colorado perspective, or at least the CDHE perspective, and seeing kind of how all of these things fit together with everyone kind of bringing their ideas to the table. So very excited about what that future might look like. Spencer maybe has other things to add on that front, but just really excited about where we are right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, those were great. Those were great sessions. Is the Good Tech Fest, has that happened, or was this an inaugural for that event?
You know, I want to say that the Bright Hive folks have said that it's happened the past few years. I think Bright Hive was playing a more central role in it this year, but I think it's been going on for a couple years now.
Cool. Yeah, it was some great sessions. Anyone else? We can go absolutely any direction in the last 10 minutes. Feel free to sort of take us off course if it feels like it might help or serve you, contentious or otherwise. We always want to leave time to just chat on any front that makes sense to anybody. So open floor. And hey, Duke, I see some other folks jumped on. Good to see you, man.
Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding. He drops crowdfunding and go.
Faster. More players, faster action.
I love it. I just Cory Doctorow just did a little fun little Kickstarter that has gained some pretty good momentum. I'll go grab it. It's I think for like 10 or 15 bucks you can get access to this book. He's trying to escape the grasps of big publisher. Anyway, plus one crowdfunding. What would like a crowdfunded CLab project or pilot look like?
Well, I'm working on this. I'll be seeking feedback and also actually maybe building in October an MVP. But basically for CLab, for anybody that wants to experiment with anything and wants to get not only users and funders, you know, in a pre-sales environment, this may be a way to do it faster than the 30-day cycle. In fact, it's targeting an 8-hour cycle so that we can push our live addictions on social media and try to get results faster. That's kind of what I'm pivoting to.
I love it. I'm a big fan of sort of, yeah, using tech that often doesn't have our best interests in mind sort of against itself. I think that's still possible these days.
Copyleft. The ultimate example, Copyleft, which did the free software licenses that came out of Richard Stallman and MIT 50 freaking years ago.
Open floor. This is a quiet crowd. Duke and I maybe are the only ones that really are into crowdfunding and
I did drop a link in that isn't crowdfunding, that is Cory Doctorow and the distributed web archive.org meetup, the 22nd of September event.
Yeah,
that looks great. I'm interested in going to that if I can make it.
Yeah, it does look great.
Well, I might do a quick community fundraiser on some likes and retweets potentially. So actually, Mike and I are going to be running a course that Mike Taylor and I helped put together here in October for blockchain applications analysis. So this is asking you guys if you know somebody, or heck, if you'd like to join us. We're running this through the DU Center for Professional Development, and I'll drop a link here in the chat. But this is more for like business-minded people to get a really good grasp of blockchain technology, like a la carte, right? How do we use distributed technologies, but then apply them to a business use case? So I think it was really valuable, the first one that we ran, and this is V2. It's going to be bigger and better. So if you know of somebody, or if you yourself would like to join us, please do.
Yeah, we are absolutely trying to get more people to attend, especially with COVID going on. We thought maybe we could reach out and get more people to come in and listen to Dan.
Yeah, I know he won't do it just because he's humble, but you know, Dan really is somebody that I value and respect above just about anybody when it comes to Web3 in Colorado. So, well, really, period, but certainly has done a great job in just unifying the community in Colorado. So yeah, getting to pick his brain for a few sessions and actually get some credit out of it, I'd say it would be time well invested. So yeah, maybe next piece of that would be, yeah, what is sort of a you know, some of the credentialing, and we've got options. We'll have to make sure we chat about you know, what some of that might look like. So yeah, in fact, maybe room within the ACE challenge, that framework, once we really solidify around that, I'm wondering, you know, if there might be a fun digital credentialing pilot that could sort of plug in out of that work. And of course, some of the student projects obviously could supplement and you know, help build some of that knowledge base. It'd be cool.
Yeah, so in a couple of months' time, we'll have those available, and I'll let the community here know as well. We do, at the end of the course, have student presentations that is effectively an analysis of a blockchain application. That, yeah, getting some feedback on how do you package that into a credential, as well as just checking out what the students have come up with. It was really cool last time, so excited for round 2.
Yeah, and yeah, let's make sure, happy to share that out with this whole group, our whole list for CLab. Whenever that final presentation day is, we could try to draw some folks in from this crowd to attend. I think it'll be fun to watch. Cool. Anything else?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Anyone or anything else here? Otherwise, we can maybe give everyone 5 minutes back. Last call, if anybody has something they want to mention. Going once, twice. If not, thanks all, as always. Be in touch. Always a lot evolving and happening simultaneously. We're trying to be the thread to keep all of the conversations more or less aligned. So always appreciate, you know, it's a different crowd every time for these, but it's always an awesome opportunity to see familiar faces and hear about all the awesome work that aligns with what we're up to. So thank you, and we'll do it again next month, 3rd Wednesday, same time. Thanks Colin, thanks Duncan, thanks Spencer for support, and we'll catch everybody online. Stay safe.